So I find out now that Biden got cancer.
Does it? Are we surprised?
Not really. I mean, it's sad. It sucks because cancer sucks.
Cancer does suck.
We all have been afflicted or affected by it. Family, friends, something like that. And so it's not, we're not going to make fun of it. What we're going to talk about is it's interesting the timing of this. And it's also interesting the circumstances behind this and the announcement. And we'll kind of get into that as we go. But all of a sudden, Joe Biden's coming out telling people. Now, he hinted back a couple of years ago. Remember when he was saying, "Oh, I have cancer," when he was in front of that old bridge in New Jersey area or wherever the hell it was?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing that
people were like, "Oh yeah,
I have questions." Yeah, I have questions about that.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like, and they were saying that that he had cancer like the whole term or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I think we do get into some of that in here, which we'll talk about, and it's kind of interesting. So this is what we call the Rude Barn Podcast. Welcome, and we're going to get into the show right now. All right, gang, welcome to the Rude Barn Podcast. We are talking Joe Biden and his cancer diagnosis or announcement, really. But first, we want to thank everyone for joining us and say, please help support the show. Like, subscribe, share, please, with your friends. If you like what you're seeing, we hope you do. We're trying to entertain you, have a good time with it. But we're selling merch on the rudebarn.etsy.com. Nothing major, just a little bit of proceeds to help to get the show going. So we'd love to have you guys check that out. I'll throw some screenshots up here. You'll probably see them right there, right now. Over here to my right,
I'm the Rude.
It's the Rude.
What up? What up, gang?
I am the Barn. We're going to get in some antics today when we're talking about cancer. Woo!
Sometimes it seems weird to even say it out loud. Like, you know what I mean?
You can't say it in a weird way and make it sound good. You sound like a moron. There.
That's the thing. It's like whenever you say it, it's like, everyone's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
which I think is probably an appropriate response to the word. Because like you said, I think we've all kind of had our run-ins with it, whether it be ourselves or friends or family or people we just love and enjoy. Yeah, it's not pretty and it's not friendly, and we we have that that the slogan "fuck cancer," and I think that we all kind of. Yes.
Apropos for sure. Yeah. Well, it's like you can't say cancer in a way that makes it sound happy, just like you can't say the word dancer and not sound a little gay. Hi,
exactly.
I'm a dancer.
Exactly.
I'm dancing. You just can't say it without sounding gay.
I'm going dancing. Yeah.
Hey, everybody, let's go out dancing.
We're dancing? Okay.
Hey, I think I'd like a glass of whiskey and then let's go dancing. I mean, it just doesn't work. It just sounds gay.
Doesn't work.
Cancer, you can't say it in a jovial, fun way because it just sucks ass. And that sucks. So we're sorry to hear that former President Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. Esquire Limited III has prostate cancer. And that sucks. And we're not making fun of him for that because that's horrible. It's not the best way to go out in life because it just deteriorates your quality of life over the last few years or a few months or whatever it is. And apparently he's got stage 4.
Oh,
so thanks. There were some questions in here. I think we talk about that. It's like, okay, prostate cancer, I get checked so I get the, Dr. Jellyfinger every single year on my annual physical. Mm-hmm. And I always ask my doctor, did you bring the wine today and a little candlelight while you do this for me today?
Yeah, right.
And we get a little chuckle out of it because it's hilarious.
Put on a little Teddy Pendergrass for you.
Yeah, throw on a little Barry White, something like that, and have some fun with it as I get probed. But there's no excuse for it. It's like colon cancer. You get screened and it's a slower growing cancer. but it's preventable. Prostate and colon cancer and even skin cancer, I think, are some of the most preventable cancers out there. So apparently he has prostate cancer. Apparently he's got stage 4, but just announced it. And you'll see a couple tweets and stuff that I have from doctors that say, okay, this is something that would have taken 5 to 10 years to get to this point. Why, if you are POTUS and a senator prior to that, and VP, were you not checked on a yearly basis for this shit?
Yeah, and if you were, did the doctors just kind of
taken care of?
Shrug it off? Why wasn't there anything done about it? Because that's another thing too. I think that was probably one of my biggest fears about turning 40 was that they said, okay, well, at 40 you got to get the finger
screened.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
The finger every year, every couple of years at least.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking,
as we get older, it gets more often and more often.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
Shit goes, yeah.
And now, that I'm even older than that, it's like, okay, now we do it a yearly thing. We just make sure that everything's good and yada yada. Where this is like, I don't even. I'm a little flabbergasted by it, and not sure why it's gone on this far, and not sure why the doctors didn't let him go this far. Which begs the question: Is it true? Like, I don't want to say,
don't be a conspiracy theorist now, but
I hate to say
we're questioning everything. That's what we're doing.
Questioning everything, and I don't, especially with health diagnoses and stuff like that. I don't like, I personally don't like to say, well, that guy's he's lying, to get attention or something like that. That's a terrible thing to say. I don't want to say that, but it just seems odd.
Well, I don't think he's lying about this, to be honest with you. I think it's a legit diagnosis. It's a legit announcement that he does have this. But I think as we get into this, you'll see why wasn't this announced a long time ago? And there's some conspiracy theories out there, or there's actual theories out there, not just conspiratorial theories. Do you remember Obama in an interview saying that he would love a third term? And he'd just really like to have it where he can just sit back on his couch in his house, conveniently 2 blocks from the White House, and just have like a headset on where he can talk into the ear of the puppet and tell him what to say, or her, or whatever, and that he could kind of run things, but the mouthpiece, in this case, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., Esquire Limited the third, could be the puppet. So was that why they covered it up so long? Because there's a huge scandal now that's finally coming out about the cover-up of his dementia, of his other illnesses, this cancer diagnoses, and things like that. And it's all starting to come together, and people think, well, it's no big deal. They covered it. They want to make sure. No, it is a big deal, because if this were the other way around, and you people have to fucking look at it that way.
Yeah.
And Trump did this, you'd be up in arms. Oh, Gitmo, get him down there. He's lying, and they're covering up, and he's a fascist. He's a dictator. He's an oligarch, and everything else. Thanks, there, Bernie. And and that's what it would be. So you can't have it one way and not have it the other. It's got to work both ways.
Yeah, if it goes one way, it has to go the same way on both sides. Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things that they're missing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and in this case, you can't put it all on people from the conservative or Republican side calling out the media for covering it up, and then not have it the other way around. Because if it were the other way around, you people would be calling out Trump, his administration, and everybody else around him, and the media, and everybody else who was complicit in that, and you would do the same thing. Fair enough, and you should.
Yeah. Yes.
So here's a guy that I like to follow. His name, he's the veteran biker, and he has a couple good takes on this, and he talks about the whole cancer bombshell with Biden and the tie possibly with Obama and things like that, and a couple of other little things he talks about. So let's listen to what he's saying and then we'll make some comments, and we got some other little clips to play as well.
With stage 11 prostate cancer. Public service announcement. If you're a dude, go get checked. Go get your prostate checked.
Exactly.
Michelle Obama, go get checked. Okay. Big shout out to Big Mike. Now, what I want to talk about is part of this Joe Biden prostate cancer scandal. We all know that at the stage that Biden's at, it would take 5 to 10 years to get to that stage of prostate cancer. Now, was this all planned, coordinated? There are doctors coming out on CNN right now that said that they told Joe Biden 5 years ago he had prostate cancer. Did Jill and Hunter and all these other deep state clowns just hide this from the American people? We have the Ben-Hur report, the audio that's being leaked at the same time. We all know that President Barack Hussein Barry Soetoro Obama went to Columbia University, even though some of his professors can't remember him ever being in a class. But Barack said that he would love to have a third term.
Is what I was just saying.
He would love to have someone wearing an earpiece, and they would do all the talking, and he would make all the decisions. Is that what happened? I think we're going to see some real investigations occur because of this. I think this is really happening. This is happening in real time. Donald Trump put out a post on True Social regarding military tribunals. That is not something that just happens overnight. That is something
which he brings up a good point, and I can let this go a little bit longer. We'll make a comment here, but is this all just a distraction to keep people's attention away from what is really going on, or what they're about to have happen to them, and the arrests that are supposedly coming for all these people in the quote-unquote deep state, the Obamas, the Bidens, the Clintons, and so on and so on. I'm just guessing. I'm just throwing out some names. I don't know who these people are. It's merely my opinion. It's just names I've heard over the years. They could not be part of it at all. I have no idea. Just throwing it out there. But is there something coming up for people who are actually a part of this whole deep state? Whether they are or they are not, I don't know. But maybe they could be. And is this a distraction? So he brings up a couple good points, don't you think?
He does, and I guess my thing is I guess that whole rope it up thing, or the hey, look over here while we do something over here.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, the smoke and mirrors thing. Yeah. That's been a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
However, I think that what's going on in the arrest, potential arrests or anything like that. I think that they're going to be so big that this isn't going to be enough smoke. You know what I mean? To cover that up. Because I think at this point, like we've seen, I mean, the majority of Americans have, showed where they're at, made their decision, and really, kind of picked a side here. Now, I don't really think, and I don't mean to say this like, maliciously,
right?
But I don't think they really care about what's going on with Biden anymore. Right. Yes, like you said, it's sad. We'll say a prayer for him. You know what I mean? Because you never want to see this happen to anybody, especially somebody like that too, where I think is, the dimensions got a hold of him so hard. Yeah. And so bad that I'm sure that he might not even know what the hell's going on. And
maybe we should just leave him alone. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the even sadder part of it. And that's kind of the thing. Like, I don't think that people are going to be that concerned with the smoke over this. Yeah. And you bring up a huge point. Maybe we should just leave him alone.
Yeah, which
just let him go in peace. You know what I mean?
Let them walk off in the sunsets. But that's what I'm saying. It begs the question: why are they bringing it up? Why are they pushing this to the forefront of the media? What other stories then, if not that, are they trying to distract us from? Because it's always a distraction. It's always a distraction. Something's going on, and they try to, this whole Comey thing with the 8647 and blah, 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 we just talked about in the last podcast. What the hell is really going on? Is it because of the deep state arrest like he's talking about, or is it something else? What are they covering up? And so it's kind of interesting. Let's see what else he says about this, and then we'll jump on to the next thing.
Something that takes months to ramp up, to put in place. Are we going to see that? Would you like to see military tribunals? Is that the only way we're going to get some real justice for the Obamas? But is this the biggest scandal ever for Barack Hussein Obama? I mean, he had quite a few scandals. And now this one could be the biggest ever. And I believe Obama told us what was happening. He actually told us what he was going to do before he did it. He planned this all out. Now you have Donald Trump calling for an investigation into the Kamala Harris campaign for these performances by Beyonce, Bruce Springsteen, and a whole other laundry list of washed up celebrities that were paid millions to endorse her.
Yeah, I mean, and he goes on, and he's doing what we're doing. He's asking questions. He's putting it out there. Maybe he has a little thing where he's like trying to push a narrative in a certain direction or whatever. But I think he's legit trying to just ask some questions about what's going on. Because it just doesn't seem like this makes any sense of why it's even out there. Why is this even a story? Why do we give a shit whether Biden has freaking cancer or not? Poor guy. Sorry. I never liked him. I thought he was the worst piece of shit president ever. But as a human being, I don't wish cancer on him.
Right.
And I hope he just lives out the rest of his life. And Dr. Jill Biden, not a real doctor, just stops trying to be putting him and herself in the spotlight all the time. And she needs to just go away as well.
Well, you bring up a good point, because I think that, maybe in order to stay relevant in some way or another, which I don't know why you would even want to.
Yeah.
Right. I think maybe she pushes this stuff out there,
stay relevant somehow for whatever reason.
Some sort of reason to stay relevant, which is beyond me. Because it's just like you said, just kind of walk off into the sunset and just be humble about it. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. We had our time. It's over. Let's just be comfortable now.
Nobody's ever voting for you, Jill, to be president. It's not going to happen. The closest you ever came was to running the staff meetings, for your husband during his last couple of years or year in office. That's the closest you're ever going to be, because nobody's ever going to vote for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. So,
but why? But why the hell are they bringing the story out? Why do we give a rat's? Why is this such a big news story? What's going on?
Well, like you said, it may be, to create a little smoke about something else that's going to be going on. And there's plenty that could be going on. I think that, that this, the public just has to, I guess, just, keep asking questions and stay informed, and, and look at those little things and look at those, that stuff that might be coming out, and do your due diligence, and I think that this is going to go away. This is going to go away as soon, just as soon as everything else does. Yeah, everything that's kind of the weird thing about the news cycle, and even if we're late on this, we apologize, folks, but there are so many things going on and so many things being thrown at us now, and
sometimes we have to wait a few days for this to kind of all get settled and then comment on it.
Well, and that's what
You
we
know?
like to do too. So
Yeah.
we're not, reporting fake news, but
Your fake news.
because we like to do our diligence too and
Yeah.
just kind of look into this stuff. But it's just that thing that's going to be thrown at us, and by the end of the week, it's just I don't know if it's even going to be a story anymore.
Swept under the rug. Well, there could be something else out there. I mean, you never know. There could be something like a tall-masted ship that runs into the Brooklyn Bridge or something like that. I don't know. It could happen. You never know. Could be something crazy like that. But
yeah.
Well, something else. There'll be another story, and that's just a bunch of hooey. That's not going to happen. I just threw that out as an idea of something else that could possibly happen. So anyway, don't worry about it. But let's listen to why the news report on his cancer real quick, and then we'll go into a couple of little things, and then we'll move on, because I really don't think this is that important to be dealing with, but we do want to comment on it because there's something else underlying here under the covers of darkness that is probably going on, and I don't know what it is yet, and we're going to see if we can find out. We'll eventually find out. But
we're eventually going to find out.
Yeah. So let's just see a little bit here about the announcement here real quick, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Breaking news coming from the office of former President Joe Biden. His team revealing the 82-year-old has been diagnosed with prostate cancer, which has spread to his bone. In a statement, the former president's team says he began experiencing urinary symptoms and was seen for a nodule on his prostate. Doctors confirmed the cancer last Friday, calling it aggressive but hormone sensitive, meaning that it could still be managed. Biden and his family are now working with doctors to explore treatment options.
Why didn't they do that a few years ago, when they probably knew this was coming up? I mean, I don't get it. Why are they just now dealing with it?
Do you think that maybe I don't know, this might be a little bit far-fetched, but do you think that maybe like what do you call it when somebody dies, then martyr, like they wanted to make him a martyr?
Yeah.
Like almost seeing if it would have
taken
him
into a saint, like some of the popes after.
Yeah, and kind of make a martyr out of him, and then maybe that would have been a big push for the blue side with Americans. I don't know. I don't know. Because
interesting conspiracy theory you just came up with there, Rude.
This could have and should have been mitigated a long time ago.
This could have been and should have been taken care of years ago. Why they waited till now for somebody who probably should have tests every week? Because I mean, come on, this guy is a walking accident waiting to happen, and he has had accidents in his pants and then falling down on stages. Yeah, he should have been tested weekly or bi-weekly or every other month or something like that, because it's just there's a lot going on with this guy.
Yeah,
and now it's catching up to him.
Well, and it's it's catching up to the team that was behind, either closing this or putting this behind closed doors, or really trying to push it and keep everything a secret. I don't know why they would have done that. And like you said, I mean, it's been said before. It's elder abuse, dude.
Oh my God,
It's
especially
disgusting.
from Dr. Jill, not a real doctor apparently. Well, she would know better, you would think. But she should have gotten him in and said, Joe, you were so good at answering all the questions. Now you got to go get your test for your prostate and your colon cancer and everything else. That's what she should have done.
Yeah.
Instead of praising him for answering all the questions and things like that.
Yeah, and then making him get up and still go to the meetings and still go to the debate and all this kind of shit.
So this begs the question then, why did they wait so long? So I mean, here's the thing. Biden had a PSA test last year, and I can't remember what the PSA test is exactly, but anyway, we'll look it up. Somebody can let us know in the comments. That would be fantastic, or we'll look it up while we're talking to you.
I got it.
Yeah, okay. So last year, and then 2 months after leaving office, he's diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. No freaking way. Something's not right here. They were all in on it.
Prostate specific antigen.
Okay, perfect. Prostate specific antigen. So yeah, he should have been having those every year. Like I have mine every year during my physical, and as POTUS and V POTUS, he should have been doing this for a long freaking time. So this never should have gotten to this point. So here he's saying they were all in on it, and Barack Obama, here we go again, the mastermind, he was in charge of that auto pen. Those pardons must be all voided. Yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, there's people jumping to the conclusions, but if that's the case and Barack was handling it and he was incompetent to sign. Yeah. Oh, here's the video. You can see it right there. This is the one where he starts mentioning that he had cancer. And people, so in 2022, Biden said he had cancer. We were all told it was just a gaffe. How long did they know? And who decided to cover it up? These people lied to our faces for 4 years. They need to be held accountable. But of course, nobody on the left is going to, oh, this is no big deal. We cover up. Of course, if it were Trump, and this was Trump standing here in front of is that the same bridge that collapsed? Is that the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore?
I don't know.
That kind of looks like it a little bit, don't you think? I don't know. Anyway,
where the hell are you?
You're not going to see that bridge if that's it. You're not going to see that bridge again. Anyway,
well,
I digress.
It was kind of the thing, though, too. I remember this.
Yeah,
and it's funny because it was one of those things where, like he had just come out on a few speeches and he said he was a war hero, and then like he said that he was a fighter pilot, and that he fought in the Vietnam War, and then he was in
I don't think he ever
World War II, and and he did all these things, and we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then he comes out, he's like, I got cancer. It's like, what are we supposed to believe here? I don't know what we're supposed to believe, because a lot of this sounds like bullshit.
Yeah.
And so maybe this was the only thing that we should have believed.
Yeah. Well, but how can you when so many lies are told? Oh, here she is. Oh, you did such a great job, Joe. You answered all the questions. Here, I hate to say it, but I kind of agree with C3. Jill Biden is pure evil. She is an elder abuser. To let him continue on like this when he is clearly cognitively declined, demented, etc. He can't walk on stage. He's shaking hands with the air. He's turning which way do I go? Which way do I go? Falling off of his bicycle, everything else. Benefit of the doubt, he missed a step, took his foot out of the bike, and that's why he fell. Okay, I'll give you that, fine. Yeah. But he shouldn't have been on the bike if he can't do that.
That's what I was going to say. Should have been on the bike.
Should have been on the bike. So she trotted Joe out knowing he had dementia and was cancer riddled. So C3 here, I don't know if there's a PO after that, but anyway, is basically saying, that she is abusing him by allowing him to do all these things. Who knows what time his bedtime was, or what time he got up, and what drugs he put on, that he had, that he was taking before he went on stage, and I mean, look at the way he was. You could tell when he had taken his medicine and hadn't taken the medications.
Because he just kind of looked like a zombie. Like it was really weird.
Yeah. And anyway, so Donald Trump Jr. just sits here and says, what I want to know is, how did Dr. Joe Biden miss stage 5 metastatic cancer, or is this yet another cover-up? So this Dr. Stephen Quay says prostate cancer is the easiest cancer to diagnose, as well as colon and skin, when it first starts, and to watch it progress to bone metastasizes. The PSA blood tests show the rate of cancer cell growth. For even the most aggressive form, it is a 5 to 7 year journey without treatment before it becomes metastatic. Meaning it would be malpractice for this patient to show up and be first diagnosed with metastatic disease in May 2025. It is highly likely he was carrying a diagnosis of prostate cancer throughout his White House tenure, probably his White House tenure as VP also, and the American people were uninformed. So people are calling us out. I mean, that's a doctor who's saying that, And then, you know, and we don't want to take the cancer lightly, but remember this kid? This kid was honored by Trump as a kid with cancer who was, I believe he beat cancer, and he wants to be an FBI agent. And then they gave him a posthumous award or a badge for being an FBI agent. Right. And Republicans were standing up. And then how many of the Democrats weren't? I think it was so everybody's, you know, clapping. This poor kid, and you know, and he's a black kid because, you know, hey, it's people of color we got to take care of. The Democrats are so, you know, pushing for stuff like that. But because he's a big Trump supporter, you hate the kid. You hate this kid with cancer. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, as you'll see in here, you'll see this hag, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, just said she could barely even look up over and see this kid and will not clap. And she's sitting down. You'll see it here in a second. There it is. There is that piece of shit right there.
Yeah.
I mean, can you believe this bullshit from this freak-haired little, you know what I'm gonna say. I was gonna say bitch, but I'm gonna say it. But I'm gonna say it, bitch.
That's the dichotomy. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, you can sit there and shun this kid, you know, who's getting attention, support
from the other side of your
from the other side, and you want us to fall to our knees crying about Biden?
Yeah, I mean, who's lived a full life, by the way. This kid has not. Yeah, I mean,
it's terrible.
These people are the biggest hypocrites. It's unbelievable, you know. So it's like, who thinks they released the Biden cancer news to distract from the investigations into who covered up his mental illness? There's Ross.
Yeah.
Ross is on board. Right, I'm on with Ross. Here's another one. Bombshell. Dr. Zeke Emanuel just confirmed on live TV that Joe Biden had cancer during his presidency back in 2021. And guess what? What does that say right there?
Yeah.
Even Joe Scarborough.
World of all people.
Scarborough. Even Morning Joe is stunned. He had it when he was president? What?
You knew he was
that, though. Yeah, I mean, it's just, they're the most transparent administration in history. I mean, come on, dude.
God. No way.
What a douche. I mean, this guy, he's the sharpest he's ever been. Remember that? Biden. He's the sharpest he's ever been. He's been the best version of himself. All that shit.
Doing cartwheels down the White House halls. Like, come on.
Right. Cartwheels, somersault. He's doing parkour down the White House hallways. I mean, good God. So Benny Johnson puts his urologist, Dr. Schusterman, says it's unheard of for somebody with Biden's level of care to not know he had prostate cancer 5 to 10 years ago. It was a full-on cover-up. It's very unlikely that someone could get annual checkups and not notice. Exactly.
Yeah.
When you get that Dr. Jellyfinger going up there, making sure you don't have an enlarged prostate, they know immediately, and they can take care of it at that point. It's when you let it go like this.
Yeah.
He's a former president, former vice president, had intensive state-of-the-art care. Probably state-of-the-art care. Probably the best in the world.
Better than
the
Medicare,
best ever. Huge, massive care.
It's biggest fingers going.
The biggest care facility in the world. The bestest ever. Biggest, baddest, most beautiful care.
They were giving him the 2-finger twirl. Come on.
The 2-finger salute. Anyway, it's unusual to hear that someone has prostate cancer when they're annually being followed up. The fact that we find it in a what is it? Gleason 9 is unheard of. What the hell is look up Gleason 9, would you please, for me? What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, I get that.
The fact that we find it at a Gleason 9. Let me know what that is. I'll finish this while you find that out.
Like the stage.
Probably some,
high grade prostate cancer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
grade group 5 would suggest more aggressive and potentially faster growing cancer. Sign of the biopsy.
So what's a Gleason 9 then?
Yeah, that's it. It just indicates
it's up there.
The highest. Yeah, the highest.
The
grade
highest.
prostate. Yeah.
Holy shit. He's almost a perfect 10. Gleason 10.
Is it?
Not to make fun of it, I feel bad for the guy, but you did it to yourself. You should have gotten checked, dude. Come on.
Somebody did it to him, and even the doc,
Dr.
that falls on the doctor who
falls on his the White House
he was in,
master physician.
Yeah, that falls on that doctor too, because if you've seen this and you've got to be giving him some sort of checkups, or you're just not checking this, then that falls on you too. Like you should.
I highly doubt that happened, and I believe that it was more of a cover-up. It had to have been the cover-up, and I'll tell you why. Because people would have called for the 25th Amendment to get him out of office long before.
Yeah.
Then we would have had Camel Toe as the president, and you know how horrible that would have been. Talk about the borders being open. So Dr. Jill didn't want to let that happen. Obama probably didn't want to let that happen. Let's just say that's the theory that's out there that's true, that he was, the puppet master for Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. Escarborough. The third to be the puppet, that would make sense. So they wanted to hide this. So does that all come back on Obama then? I mean, if that's the case, if that's true, if that's the true story, does that come back on Obama for that?
Well, I guess the thing is there's no proof that Biden was the or that Obama was the string puller, and I guess that's where he gets off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because whether there are phone records, text records, whatever, he was pulling the strings so sneakily behind the scenes that there's no evidence to prove it.
Yeah.
So, and my question is how did he do it so smoothly? How did he pull the strings without anybody knowing? Because that's just kind of the thing. It's a rumor that he was behind the scenes pulling the strings, and you can't prove a rumor, right?
Well, but you remember the interview where he actually said that, I wish I had a third term. I can have a little earpiece, somebody that I can just talk into his ear and have him do that. So he actually did say that himself. So there's a little bit of proof right there, but that is hearsay. He just said it, doesn't mean he actually did it.
Yeah, just because he said it doesn't mean he actually did it. But
with Obama, I think he does say what he means.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that it was totally a thing. But however he did it very smooth. And I think you're right. I think that you're exactly right. Like they couldn't risk having him pulled out of office. They couldn't risk having Cackles in there. They couldn't. I think they couldn't risk those things, because then he would have had to come out and say, "Hey, actually, guys, I'm
demented.
I'm running it."
Then he'd have to say,
yeah. Obama would.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's horrible, and I think it's sad that they would take it this far and really just ruin this human being. I mean, because my God.
Well, and let's look at the bigger picture here, which is why it's much more important. And when the veteran biker was talking about this initially, it's the whole cover-up thing. I think people don't realize, well, he was demanded and somebody else, Obama, somebody, whoever was behind the scenes running it. Do we not realize what a huge, humongous, large, huge deal this actually is? Because again, you flip the script and you put Trump in there and he's the one not doing it. Somebody else is running it for him. This would be the biggest outcry, the biggest uproar, the biggest story out there. Like, oh my God, our government needs to be ripped and to the ground and torn to shreds and burned down to the ground, and we need to start. You know what I mean? It's the apocalypse of our government.
Catastrophic. Yeah,
catastrophic.
They would have shut it down, and then
apocalyptic.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the thing. You have to look at the other way around, because Biden wasn't running shit. The Autopan is a big deal. If the Autopan is signing his signature, and we looked at that and they were exactly the same. Okay. You never signed your signature exactly the same ever. Okay?
I had done it twice in 5 minutes. I was at the bank the other day. Wrote my signature on the back of a check. Then had to write my signature on that little stupid board thing.
Yeah. Definitely
Completely
off.
different.
Yeah, even if it's not completely, it's definitely different.
It's definitely different. Yeah.
Definitely different. So it is a big deal. And so this is why maybe this is a whole distraction, like we're saying, for that. Because, I mean, is this is this a traitorous? Is this treasonous? Is this something that could put Obama or all these other deep state folks in Gitmo? Is this an immensely huge ordeal that our country is being lied to, that we're all being duped into who's actually running the country, that is not the person we elected? Can you imagine? Your vote means nothing. The person you put in office is not doing the job. And see what I just said there? Because now you're all bitching that Trump is actually doing what he's saying, because we elected him to do this. Whether you agree with everything he's done and how he goes about it, that's neither here nor there. He's actually doing it, but Biden isn't. And you elected him supposedly to do that. See the big deal? If it were flipped, people, you have to look at it this way as well. And yes, it is a big deal.
Well, I think that I mean, going off the side here just a tiny bit, I think the D's had comfort in that. They didn't give a shit. Yeah. I think they knew,
as long as they were in power.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I think they knew that he was just a puppet. Yeah. And they didn't care who was running it behind the scenes, whether they knew who was or not. They felt comfortable.
Remember Kamala? Well, he's not dead.
Yeah.
Remember that? Or that quote? Well, he's still alive. Wow, that's all right. That's quite the reasoning behind everything you're doing. Okay, great.
Dude.
Yeah.